What's good, everybody? Welcome to the latest installment of the On the Mic podcast. I am your host, Mike Jones. Hoping everybody is hopefully everybody had a wonderful Thursday. Hopefully everybody was safe. Hopefully everybody is continuing to social distance, keep your hands clean, and most importantly, wear your mask. Um, First of all, I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. Last week, I did not have an episode of On the Mic because last Thursday was my wife and I's 5th anniversary. So I did not have On the Mic that week. I do apologize, but like I said, it's my anniversary. I took a mini vacation and I didn't do anything. I wasn't going to do anything work related. Man. But welcome for everybody who is tuning in. If you are tuning in, please report yourselves. Let me know that you are here. I just want to give a short reminder that On the Mic will air every Thursday at 7 p.m. I'm sorry I was a little late today. I was helping my brother take care of some business real quick. But normally On the Mic will air every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. Check out the content on YouTube. Please go to the On the Mic Productions YouTube channel. Go to the On the Mic Productions YouTube channel. Subscribe to the page. Check out all past episodes and smash that like button. Also, if you want to be a guest on the mic, hit my inbox. Let me know. If you want to be a guest, if you want to collaborate, chop it up, come up with a topic and build, please let me know. I am, like I said, I've said it before in the past, and I will say it again. I want to make On the Mic a safe space for everybody. Okay, like I want to make On the Mic a safe space for everybody. So, whatever topics that you want to discuss, please shoot those ideas my way. We can collaborate, and whenever a time works for you, I will adhere to that. So, please, if you want to collaborate, let me know. Also, after I am done with On the Mic, me and my good brothers, we have a wrestling podcast that we also do every Thursday. It is the Under the Ring podcast, and we go live on Twitch. You can follow us at twitch.tv/Under the Ring Pod. Also, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Under the Ring Pod. We will go live every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Also, speaking of Twitch, my little sister has a Twitch page herself. You can follow my my sister's Twitch page at twitch.tv/Mo_2_times. Once again, that is twitch.tv/Mo_2_times. And last but not least, for those of you who rock with my art, for my wife's artwork, you can follow her. You can check out her Etsy page at etsy.com/RavenJArt. Again, if you want to support my wife's artwork, you want to buy some merchandise with her artwork on it, please visit her Etsy shop at etsy.com/shop/RavenJArt. All right. Ooh, let me take a swig of water. Ooh. I said a lot. Oh, man. All right. So once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in this evening. Thank you for spending some of your time with me. Once again, On the Mic is not about me. It is about all of us. This is our platform. This ain't about me. I didn't do this for me. I did this for everybody. I did this to create a content for all of us. So tonight we are going to talk about a movie that has sent shockwaves, man. A movie that has such significant and historical context to it because it truly happened. This was about Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was a young and powerful leader of the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party was an organization that was created and founded by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale in 1966. Basically, what the Black Panther Party did, they basically want to do what they want to do a lot, but basically their premise was protect Black people against police brutality. We want to protect Black people against police brutality, if we want Black people to understand that we are here to fight for liberation, right? And this movie focuses on two people in particular, aforementioned Fred Hampton and Bill O'Neill. Bill O'Neill, who I will give more information in a few moments, he is the quote unquote Judas, and Fred Hampton's nickname was the Messiah. So the movie that I'm talking about tonight is Judas and the Black Messiah. Woo! What a fantastic movie, man. Judas and the Black Messiah. I've watched it 3 times within the past 2 weeks, man. It is such Judas and the Black Messiah, it touches a lot of emotions for me. Emotions of sadness, emotions of anger, the emotion of also emotion of being proud, being proud that I have an ancestor who fought that fight for me so I can have civil liberties that he wasn't able to face, that he was fighting for, that he wasn't able to have back in those days. And also feel an emotion of encouragement. I'm encouraged because it just makes me, first of all, it allows me to just continue to be thankful for who I am as a Black person. It encourages me to continue to love my people, stand up for my people. And it encourages me to try to do what I can to be a beacon for my people in the community here in Cincinnati. So, like I said, it touched a lot of range of emotions. And like I did with the last movie that we talked about, Malcolm and Marie, I did my notes, people. I did my homework. I did my homework, man. And there's a lot of things that I want to talk about in this movie. And I also want to hear your guys' thoughts about it if you watched it. Matter of fact, if you watched Judas and the Black Messiah, please let me know now. Put it in the comments. Let me know your thoughts as well about the movie. So, the beginning of the movie, it brings up Fred Hampton, right? And it brings up, who he is, who the Black Panther Party is, gives like a brief synopsis of who they are. And then we go straight to J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover he was the director at that time of the FBI. J. Edgar Hoover was, let's keep it a buck. He was responsible for, at that time, the assassinations of not only Malcolm X, but also Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. J. Edgar Hoover, if you want to talk about an American version of, even if you want to put him in like the same category, or at least in the same ballpark as someone like Hitler, that's how evil this man was as the director of the FBI. So, he's talking to his agents or whatnot, and he's highlighting Fred Hampton. And the thing about the Black Panther Party, like I said, they were founded in Oakland, but even just a couple years later, they had branched out in so many cities. They had organizations up in New York City. They had headquarters up in Connecticut and headquarters in like Philadelphia, where Fred Hampton is from. He's from Chicago. He is the chairman of the Illinois branch of the Black Panther Party. So, and this is a stark quote that J. Edgar Hoover said off rip. He said, "The Black Panther Party is the biggest threat to our national security." I'm going to say that again. The Black Panther Party, and this was a quote from J. Edgar Hoover. He said, "The Black Panther Party is the biggest threat to our national security." Now, of course, you're going to ask the question, what does he mean when he says our national security? Like, what exactly does that mean, right? And you know what that translates to me when you hear the word national security, and when you hear that, associated with the United States of America, you know what that means. The national security is white privilege, white supremacy. This party, he said they're even more dangerous than the Chinese and the Russians. Wow. This organization, and mind you, and I will get back to this point later on, but mind you, these guys were like these young brothers and sisters, man. They were teenagers. They were teenagers and young adults. They were 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. Like, we're talking about kids here. And this country is so threatened by these kids that they label them the most dangerous threat, the biggest threat to their national security, the biggest threat to their white supremacy. In the movie, Roy Mitchell, who I'm going to get to in a little bit, he basically says that they are one and the same to the Klan, to the Ku Klux Klan. So, I want to share something with y'all. And let me, I just want y'all to, when I read this, I just want y'all to think, does this sound like a group of a terrorist, a group of terror, a terrorist? Does this sound like a hate group? Does this sound like a group who wants to inflict pain on people? Who wants to exterminate people? Or does this sound like a group who just wants freedom? Or who simply wants freedom, or who simply wants to express liberation to their people? Let me go ahead and share this, man. Give me a second, y'all. This is basically what I'm going to read to you. This is basically the Black Panther Party's constitution in a sense. It's called the 10-point program. Now, of course, you got everything here, but I'm just going to list, the points, okay? Point number 1, we want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our Black community. We want full employment for our people. And let me go ahead and make that bigger for y'all, okay? We want an end to the robbery by the capitalists of our Black community. Once again, if you're just tuning in, I am basically reading the Constitution of the Black Panther Party, but it's actually called the 10-point program, okay? This is basically the Constitution of the Black Panther Party, okay? We want decent housing fit for the shelter of human beings. Point number 5. We want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this of the desiccated American society. We want education that teaches us our true history, our role in the present day society. Point number 6. We want all Black men to be exempt from military service. That was such a huge thing back then. Once again, this is the mid and late 60s. And in that time, you had Vietnam. We want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of Black people. Again, the crux of this organization, why this organization was created, was for this exact reason. They wanted to fight against police brutality in the Black neighborhoods. Point number 8. We want freedom for all Black men held in federal, state, county, and city prisons and jails. Point number 10. We want all Black people, when brought to trial, to be tried in a court of a jury of their peer group or people from their Black communities, as defined by the Constitution of the United States. Number 10, we want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. Justice and peace. Justice and peace. Whew, boy, don't we say that a lot, don't we? When we're out here marching. And this was damn near 60 years ago. And we're still dealing with police brutality in current day 2021. We out here marching, talked about no justice, no peace. And 55, 60 years ago, they created this organization to combat the exact things that we're still dealing with today. Social and economic injustice, police brutality, things that they were fighting back in the 60s, we're still fighting against now. Damn near 60 years later. Now let me ask the question again. Does that sound like a terrorist group? Does that sound like a hate group? Or does that sound like a group who simply wants equality and want liberation for their people? I wish this Fred Hampton movie was like Spike Lee's Malcolm X. And that's a great point. The movie introduced Fred already as leader. We need a full understanding of his mindset and why he went from being the NAACP to the Black Panther Party. That's a great point, for Hollywood purposes, we weren't going to a docu series about him. I would love to see, because in the movie, I know I'm jumping ahead, but I'm just responding to comments too. But in the movie, it talks about how he was talking about how he knew Emmett Till, and how his mother would babysit him from time to time. It mentioned that, so I want to know his mindset from a little boy growing up in Chicago to when he became a teenager, and he gets affiliated with the NAACP, and then how he gets introduced to the Black Panther Party. We definitely need a documentary or a docuseries on that. We definitely do. Because mind you, he was at this time, he was public enemy number one. He was 21 years old. So we transition from, we get introduced to J. Edgar Hoover, Fred Hampton, the FBI and all that jazz. Now we get introduced to Bill O'Neal. Bill O'Neal he's a car thief, just a street hustler, somebody who is looking to get in where he fit in, looking to get over any way he can, right? He goes to this bar. This bar is controlled by another Black organization, the Crowns. He goes in there. He impersonates an FBI agent. See this car, I forget what model it was, but it was slick, boy. See this bad car outside. He goes in. He calls himself arresting, the owner of that vehicle. Long story short, they figure, oh, he's not an agent. He's a kid. He's young. Like, who is this young dude? Like, there ain't no cop, bro. He leaves out, gets the car. He didn't even leave the street, and then he gets pulled over. The cops just so happen to be there on site, ready for him. So, he's at the precinct, and this is where we meet Roy Mitchell, who's one of the heads in charge of, investigating Fred Hampton, and he's basically telling Bill O'Neal, look, you're looking at 6 years, man. You're looking at 6.5 years. 1.5 for Grand Theft Auto, and 5 years for impersonating an officer, impersonating an FBI agent. He says, I can give you two options. You can spend the next 6.5 years in jail, or we got this other option for you. So Bill O'Neal winds up being an informant in the Black Panther Party. He winds up getting hired as an informant. He winds up joining the Black Panther Party. But really, he's there to get information on Fred Hampton. He's there to make sure that the FBI can take care of Fred Hampton. He's doing this so he can be a free man, right? That's what he's doing. So, one of the things that I've read about, like when I learned about the Black Panthers in college, I also learned that there was also like other street gangs or organizations, right? Like who were in the same city as the Black Panthers. And in Chicago, one of the other main, Black organization in the city were the Crowns. So the Crowns, and it's so funny is that Fred Hampton, he's trying to unite all the gangs, right? All the Black organizations in Chicago. He wants total Black liberation within the city of Chicago, right? The FBI knows this. So what do? And this is a tactic that the FBI, especially back in those days, they perfected. They perfected propaganda. Okay? So you know what they did? They came up with their own version of the Black Panther Party newspaper. Black Panther Party, they had their newspaper that they passed out. They sold for $0.25 every week, right? Every day, I should say. Giving them more information, giving black people more information, right? The FBI made a fake article basically dissing the Crowns. So when Fred Hampton, Bill O'Neill, Judy Harmon, and others, when they get to the Crowns headquarters, the Crowns are like, wait a minute, bro. Like, you coming for us, asking us for help? But what about this article that you written that's trashing us? Fred Hampton's like, well, we didn't write that. Still, who's the leader of the Crowns? Like, well, who did? And Fred Hampton's like, well, the pigs, of course. And still says, well, the pigs don't write blood, but the FBI do. They did the same stuff with Malcolm X, and they did the same stuff with Dr. King. Writing these slanderous articles, writing these articles of propaganda, and pretending that there's someone else. This was a huge tactic of the FBI back then. It was a huge tactic, man. Once again, for those of you guys who are just tuning in, once again, welcome to the latest installment of the On the Mic podcast. Tonight, we are talking about Judas and the Black Messiah. If you are tuning in, please report yourselves. Please report yourselves. If you have watched the movie, please let me know your thoughts as well. I am highlighting, important points that I felt, that I saw in the movie, that I witnessed. And I just wanted to share my thoughts on those points. I just mentioned the Crowns. Fred Hampton, he wanted to collaborate. He wanted all the Black organizations in Chicago to collaborate. Of course, when you're fighting a battle against the police, you can't do it on your own. You want as many organizations, especially as many organizations of color as possible, to come together and defeat this enemy, who are the police. So, basically, the Crowns and the Panthers, they make a truce, and basically what they do next is, what Fred Hampton does next is, he goes over and they visit the Young Patriots. The Young Patriots is a group of it is a group that consists of poor white Southerners who migrated from the South and moved to Chicago. And this is like the beauty of this is the beauty of Fred Hampton. He understood, okay, as much as I want Black people to win this battle, I know at the end of the day, we're going to need some allies. Hold on, give me a second. he knew when it's all said and done that he was going to need him and the Black Panther Party. They were going to need some allies, right? We can't fight this fight alone. We're going to need some allies who are there for us. We're going to need some allies who can somewhat understand our struggle. And no matter what color you are, if you live in a poor community, it doesn't matter if you're black, if you're white, if you're brown, if you're red, if you're yellow, if you're blue. When it's all said and done, all of you are poor. All of you live in this poor community. We are all at the bottom of the barrel here. At the bottom of the barrel. You may not like me because of the color of my skin, but at least we have something in common, and at least we can combat the police brutality that is hindering us here, that is affecting our communities where we both live. Fred Hampton made a great point. He said, I bet you your kids are getting the same shitty education as our kids. So we have no reason to beef with each other. We all poor here. We all live in this poor community. So he creates this Rainbow Coalition. The Rainbow Coalition is a combination of the Black Panther Party, the Young Patriots, white, and the Young Lords, a Hispanic organization. So now that's a huge problem in the FBI's eyes. Because it's like, okay, it's one thing if he's trying to gather all the black organizations. Oh, that's predictable. But now you're teamed up with white folks and Hispanic people? What role? And let me read something to y'all, because I found an article about the Rainbow Coalition, and it'll give us more of an insight as to what they did. Okay? Let me zoom in on it for y'all a little bit, y'all. The Rainbow Coalition was comprised of the Black Panther Party, the Young Lords Organization, and the Young Patriots. The Young Lords were an organization that was constructed to address the immediate concerns of Puerto Ricans in America, while the Young Patriots were a group that was designed to support young white migrants in their quest to find jobs and a quality income within the city of Chicago. I'm going to read that again. The Rainbow Coalition was comprised of the Black Panther Party, the Young Lords Organization, and the Young Patriots. The Young Lords were an organization that was constructed to address the immediate concerns of Puerto Ricans in America, while the Young Patriots were a group that was designed to support young white migrants. Like I said before, these were young white migrants. They were moving from the South, right, up into the Midwest, into cities like Chicago, right? Because if you watch the movie, you'll see as soon as Fred Hampton and the crew walked in, you see the preacher man speaking, and behind him is the Confederate flag. And they said, while the Young Patriots were a group that were designed to support young white migrants in their quest to find jobs and a quality income within the city of Chicago. Okay? And later on it says, as one could imagine, bringing together individuals not under the auspice of race, but more importantly, class, and forging a connection that vowed to end class-based oppression for working class blacks, whites, Puerto Ricans, and youth made the Rainbow Coalition an early target of the FBI, as their agenda would have been extremely dangerous and detrimental for the agenda of white supremacy. I'm going to read this again. As their agenda would have been extremely dangerous and detrimental for the agenda of white supremacy. Like I said, man, it's one thing for all the blacks to get together, right? They ain't scared of that. Like, all the Negroes getting together, that's just big business. Oh, that ain't nothing. But when you get the poor whites and when you get poor black people, poor white people, and poor brown people coming together, woo, that is a battle that not even the Chicago PD wanna fight. So you get the Rainbow Coalition. That's a huge red flag for the FBI. So, what's the first thing you think the FBI would do? What is the first thing that they do? They immediately find any reason and make up any reason to lock up Fred Hampton, right? So they wind up locking him up. He gets sent away to prison, and he gets sent away to prison for, quote, stealing $70 worth of ice cream. This man got arrested. And the reason is because he, quote unquote, stole $70 worth of ice cream. And you want to know the time that they served, that they gave him? 2 to 5 years. They gave him 2 to 5 years for $70 worth of freaking ice cream. Again, we are talking about a man whose voice was so prominent, who became such a prominent figure at 21 years of age, that the FBI would do anything to stop him, that they put a bullshit charge on him for stealing ice cream and gave him 2 to 5 years. This is what our people were dealing with back then. This is what our black leaders were dealing with back then. Again, because the FBI was protecting America's national security. And what is the national security? White supremacy. And who protects white supremacy? White male ego. So, Fred Hampton's in jail, right? And while he's in jail, Deborah Johnson, his lover, she winds up, who also became a member of the Black Panther Party, she gets pregnant. She gets pregnant with Fred Hampton Jr., who, thank the good Lord that he's alive today, and he is also doing great work with the current branch of the Black Panther Party, the Black Panther Party Cubs. He is the chairman of that organization. He is the deputy of that organization. So, comes to find out, while Fred is still in jail, word on the street is there's a rat. There's a rat, okay? There's a rat on the loose within the party where Bill O'Neill, and this is what's so interesting about him, at this point, he has gotten so close. Mind you, he's an informant. He works for the FBI. He's working to keep his ass out of prison. Where am I? Okay. Again, there's a rat inside the organization. He becomes the head of security within the Black Panther Party in Chicago. So I got one of the members of the Black Panther Party. He's like, yeah, there's a rat. We found him in New York. He was a part of the New Haven headquarters. Boom, we killed him. Got rid of him. We found the rat. We took care of him. This is where you start to see, and Lakeith Stanfield. Oh man! First of all, Daniel Kaluuya, who played Fred Hampton, and Lakeith Stanfield, who played Bill O'Neill. First of all, both these brothers did an outstanding job. Lakeith Stanfield, he acted his ass off in this film. He acted his ass off in this film. Oh my God. And the way he plays this individual, man, Bill O'Neill, he just the emotion. When I'm watching this movie, I'm not looking at Lakeith Stanfield. I'm looking at a young Bill O'Neill. I'm looking at how his life is playing out and how his emotions are starting to change. Because mind you, in the beginning, he's like, shit. All right, I'm becoming an informant. Shit. To save my ass, I'm not about to do 6.5 years. If I can get away with this crime and just be an informant for a little bit, I'll do it. I'll infiltrate the Black Panther Party. But of course, he's gained the trust of Fred Hampton. He's become his driver. He's become head of security at their Chicago headquarters. Like he has gotten so close to Fred Hampton that Fred Hampton puts a lot of trust and faith into him. And you start to see his emotions change a little bit. It changes from, oh man, I'm gonna do this just so I can save my ass, to I'm really starting to dig this a little bit. I'm really starting to dig the Black Panther Party. I gotta do what I gotta do. I know this is business, but still, like, I'm starting to get attached to these guys a little bit, And they put him through some shit, man. Like in the movie, after they visited the Crowns, right? Two of the fellow Black Panther Party members. One, Judy Hardman. First of all, Black women are so awesome, right? Black women hold everything down, right? And the one thing about the Black Panther Party was that they, like 60% of the members were Black women. No matter if it's 2021, no matter if it's 1969, one thing will always be constant. Black women hold shit down. Black women will hold everything down and will get shit done. And he was in a situation where she was like, how'd you get that car? How were you able to steal that car? And you gotta think, what's so brilliant about our people back in those days, they were just so brilliant, man. Like I said, the mind that Fred Hampton had at 21 years old was so brilliant, so mature. Bill O'Neill, yes, he's a rat, but he's a smart dude also. He's a smart dude. He knows how to get out of sticky situations. He knows how to con himself out of situations. So when she was asking about the car, he said, yeah, I hotwired it. All right, we'll prove it. Pull a switchblade out of her boot. Again, she's a bad motherfucker, man. Pulled the switchblade out of the boot, gave him the switchblade, opened up the compartment so he can hotwire it. And he got lucky because he was able to. But still, they put immense pressure on him. And he had to prove his word. He had to prove his loyalty. And because of that, he was able to get close to Fred Hampton. And the closer he got to Fred Hampton, the more that benefited the FBI. Hence, how Fred Hampton was in jail. How they were able to arrest him on a bullshit charge. And like I said, from that point all the way into this point where a rat is being introduced, you start to see the emotions change. You start to say, hey, do anybody else know about me? This is what Bill O'Neill was asking Roy Mitchell. Did anybody else know about me? And he's like, no. Like, no one knows who you are. Come to find out, the guy who told Bill O'Neill about the rat, come to find out, he's the rat. George Sims. He's the rat. It's bad enough you got one rat already that they don't know about. They got two rats now. They got two informants in the Black Panther Party. So, because there's a rat in the FBI, because in the Black Panther Party, because Fred's in jail, there's a lot of chaos. A lot of chaos ensues, right? So what happens is one of the members of the Black Panther Party, Jimmy Palmer, who in the movie is a hothead, he picks a shootout with the cops. The cops were arresting some brothers in the store. He walks in. He calls himself policing the police. He shoots fire, shoots one officer. He gets shot. Fast forward, you have this shootout. You have this shootout between the Black Panther parties and between the cops. Long story short, you have an officer that gets shot. You have a Black Panther get shot. Arrest are made. The cops blow up the headquarters. Again, what is one of the quickest ways to tear up an organization? You mess up the headquarters. You mess up the office. You mess up the base of the organization. And so when you do that, you blow it up. And again, you start to see the emotions of Bill O'Neill change. You start to see him begin to second guess himself. You start to see him vividly with his face saying, is this worth it? Am I doing the right thing? Am I making a horrible decision here? You can vividly see that in his face. And Lakeith does such an amazing job of expressing emotions with his facial features and with his mannerism while playing Bill O'Neill. He just does such an outstanding job with that, man. And I want to bring up I want to bring up another point, man, and just like I said before, man, J. Edgar Hoover is such an evil son of a bitch, right? He's so evil. So Roy Mitchell is an FBI agent who's on the case against Fred Hampton. But the one thing that you can see about Roy Mitchell also, again, just like how Bill O'Neill is beginning to contemplate whether this is right or not, whether he should get out of Dodge, whether he shouldn't do this, you're starting to see you're starting to see Roy Mitchell, who, although he's working for the cops, he looks like one of those FBI agents that, especially during those times, is thinking, wow, are we really doing the right thing here? Like, should we really be doing this? Like, and a question that Hoover asked Roy Mitchell, he asked him, what would you do when talking about Mitchell's daughter, when she brings home a Negro? He asked that question. What would you do when your daughter brings home a Negro? Basically saying, if we don't win this war, if we don't defeat Fred Hampton, if we don't defeat the Black Panther Party, they are going to get the equality that they've been fighting for. We had to share our land. We had to share our people, our women. We will have to share with these people. We don't want that. Again, his quote in the beginning of the movie, talking about the Black Panther Party being the biggest threat to our national security. What is the national security? Again, white supremacy. You got this white supremacist and J. Edgar Hoover saying this stuff. Asking an FBI agent who's under him these egregious questions. Talking about what would you do if your daughter brought home a Negro? If she brought home a black man? And he couldn't answer. He couldn't answer. Because if you really think about it, is Roy Mitchell really racist? Does he really share the same thoughts and feel the same way as a J. Edgar Hoover? I honestly don't think he did. Honestly, don't think he did. And J. Edgar Hoover saying, if we don't win this war, we lose our entire way of life as we know it. We lose white supremacy. We lose being the dominant race here, the dominant people here. We lose all that. We lose all total control. And if we lose all control of this country, we lose all control of the free world. That's basically what he's saying. So, once again, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is the latest installment of the On the Mic podcast. We are talking about Judas and the Black Messiah. So, comes to find out, Jimmy Palmer, one of the Black Panthers, who had a shootout with the police, he winds up getting killed by the police in the hospital. He winds up getting killed by the police, and this is where you see Fred Hampton's mindset shift into just straight anger, into straight rage, right? And soon after this news finds out that this brother was killed in the hospital by the police, Fred Hampton gives his speech. Gives a powerful speech. And I'm going to highlight two quotes that he said in this speech. The first quote, he said, "I'm going to die for the people." And I'm going to try to say it like he did in the movie. "I'm going to die for the people because I love for the people. I live for the people because I love the people." He says, "I'm going to die for the people because I live for the people. I live for the people because I love the people." And it was kind of a funny moment because you see Deborah Johnson, his lover, saying like, "Nigga, what? You gonna die for the people? Like, nigga, do you know I have a whole ass baby inside of me? I have your child inside of me, and you are up here talking about you gonna live for the people and you gonna die for the people. Like, nigga, we got a family here, bro." Once again, man, Fred Hampton. Like I said, he saw what happened. He saw the results of Emmett Till's death. He knew Emmett Till. And he said in the movie that if they can do that to Emmett Till, they can do that to me. They can do that to my brothers. They can do it to my sisters. So I had to take it upon myself to do something about it, to fight against that. So, and mind you, I understand exactly. I didn't blame Deborah Johnson at all for feeling that way. She's like, hold on, nigga, hold on. You can't be living for the people and dying for the people and leave your lady and your child alone. But he was a revolutionary, man. And true revolutionaries Just like Dr. King, just like Malcolm X. They lived for the people and they died for the people. And and this is where you see his anger. Because you gotta think, he gets locked up. You know, his organization has a shootout with the police. One of his best friends within the organization gets killed by the police in the hospital. He is on full overload, right? He is on full overload. So he says, kill a few pigs, get a little satisfaction. Kill some more pigs, get some more satisfaction. Kill them all and get complete satisfaction. With that rhetoric, he is waging war against the police. Like, he is so fed up, right? Rightfully so. All we're trying to do is build liberation for our people. All we're trying to do is fight for equality. Hell, this is the same organization that fed 3,000 kids a week with free breakfast. They had a free breakfast program. Hell, Huey Newton in Oakland, when he was in school learning about the criminal justice system, sometimes he would skip class and teach the brothers on the block what he learned. They were fighting for equality. They were fighting for black liberation. That's what they were doing. And yet the police keeps killing us. You keep harassing us. We didn't want this war. You picked this war with us. You picked this fight with us. To the point where we had to retaliate. And again, all this leads up to another one of the Black Panthers getting killed by the police, Jake Winters. Jake Winters avenged the death of Jimmy Palmer. That was the cow that broke the straw's back for him. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for him. I don't know what I just said, but the straw that broke the what? But yeah, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for Jake Winters, the death of Jimmy Palmer. And this is where you start to count down the final days for Fred Hampton. So again, he got out. Fast forwarded, everything that happened. You had the deaths of Jimmy Palmer, the death of Jake Winters. You had the speech where he's basically, with his rhetoric, waging war against the police. The FBI, of course, because Roy Mitchell was there. If you saw the movie, you saw Roy Mitchell being there witnessing the speech. And of course, him being an FBI agent, he's going to tell Hoover, right? And this is where you just see just the evilness of a J. Edgar Hoover going to full overload, right? The plan was to put Fred Hampton back in jail. They said, you know what? We're going to arrest him again. We're going to lock him up. They didn't say, of course, they didn't say the amount of time, but he's going to go in. He's going to be in there for a while. Huey Newton is in jail. Eldridge Cleaver is in jail. And this is what J. Edgar Hoover says. He says, prison made Huey Newton a celebrity. It made Eldridge Cleaver a best-selling author. Prison is a temporary solution. In other words, we need to kill this motherfucker. He's too dangerous. He is too dangerous, and he has built up too much momentum. Hell, we blew up the headquarters, and they brought it back to life. He is too dangerous. He is talking about waging war against the police. He has got to go. That's what J. Edgar Hoover is saying. So, Bill O'Neal, he's thinking, hey, man, Fred's going back to jail. My job here is done. I did what you wanted me to do. I got close to him. I gained his trust. I planted all the seeds to make sure that he gets caught up. My job is done. Mm-mm-mm. No, sir. Your job is just getting started. Roy Mitchell is basically telling him, like, he's basically saying, look, you've been in Fred's apartment, right? Yeah. You know, they got a lot of weapons, a lot of guns and stuff. Yeah. I need you to drop the floor plan. Like, what you mean drop the floor plan? Fuck, like, I did my job. He's in jail. He's locked up. He's gone. Nah. But again, just what like J. Edgar Hoover said, he said prison is a temporary solution. This 20-year-old, 21-year-old is so dangerous that we have to exterminate him. We have to get rid of him for good. So Roy Mitchell tells O'Neal, I don't think you understand here. You got 6.5 years on your head if you don't do this. You're going to do this, or you're going to go to jail, or even worse, how would you feel if the Black Panthers knew that the security is a rat? Shit. So if you're Bill O'Neal, you're like, well, damn. I ain't got nothing. I'm stuck in between a rock and a hard place. I have nowhere to go. If I don't do this, they're going to rat me out. And then they're going to kill me because I am a rat in their organization. I am infiltrating their organization. He draws out the floor plan to Fred's apartment. FBI ambushes him. They assassinate Fred Hampton in his sleep. He was put to sleep by by a powder that Lil Rel Howery, who played, I don't know who he played, Lil Rel. I don't know if he was a pusher or a pimp or somebody. He must have been a pusher, drug dealer, or a pimp. Obviously, he was working with the FBI. He was also getting paid by the FBI. Something along those lines. Gives O'Neal the powder. He puts it in Fred's drink. Because before that night before, they were talking about how to get Fred up out of America. Maybe they were talking about sending him to like Angola and Africa. They was talking about sending him to Cuba, places where the U.S. couldn't go, couldn't enter and get him. But he's like, nah, I'm not gonna fight for my people. We got to worry about this clinic. And that's another thing. They were building a clinic. They were planning on building a clinic for Black people in Chicago. Again, does this sound like a terrorist group? They were feeding 3,000 kids each week. Free breakfast. Parents didn't have to pay a penny. And they were building a free clinic. And yet, the FBI, Hoover and the crew, is comparing them to the Ku Klux Klan. So again, they ambush the Black Panther Party. They ambush Fred Hampton's apartment. They assassinate him 3 weeks before his son was born. And what did Bill O'Neal get in return? A few bucks in a gas station. They gave him $100 in the gas station. I thought it looks like $100. It could have been less than that. It could have been $60. Could have been $80. And they gave him keys to a gas station. He did all that for $100 in the gas station. Now, mind you, it was his gas station. He owned his gas station. And I'm sure he made a shit ton of money. But he probably thought, I don't know what he was thinking, but he probably thought he was going to get thousands of dollars for doing that, for helping them kill Fred Hampton. And then they said also, for a complimentary gift, you're going to still be a Black Panther. You may be a free man, but you're still going to work for us. Yes, Fred Hampton's dead, but we still need more information. We need to kill this whole organization now. And Bill O'Neill, like I said, he remained the Black Panthers into the 1970s. And the FBI, and he was paid over 200 bands by the FBI. He made over $200,000 while being an informant for the FBI. It just goes to show, man, money talks. And not all skin folk are your kinfolk. And last point I want to make, right, before I sign off here, man, because we're going on an hour. He had a documentary, Bill O'Neill. He had a documentary probably about 20 years later. 20 years later, actually, to be exact. I think on the 20th anniversary of the assassination of Fred Hampton. He has this documentary that's about him. It's called Eyes on the Prize 2. And a question that was asked to Bill was, what would you tell your son about what you did then? And he gave one of the most asinine answers I think I've ever heard in my life. So again, the question is, what would you tell your son about what you did then? Right? Basically, what would you tell your son about being an informant for the FBI, infiltrating the Black Panther Party? You know what he said? He said, I don't know what I'll tell them other than I was part of the struggle. That's the bottom line. I wasn't one of these armchair revolutionaries, one of those people who was going to sit back and judge the actions or inactions of people when they sit back on the sideline and did nothing. Nigga, you were a fucking rat. He said, at least I had a point of view. What, a point of view of a rat? The point of view of an informant? Okay, you may have gave a point of view of a Black Panther. Well, that wasn't true. You were putting on a facade. You were faking. He said, I was dedicated, and then I had the courage to get out there and put it on the line. You only put it on the line because they had 6.5 years dangling over your head. That's why you, quote unquote, put it on the line. Because they were going to throw your ass in jail. They were going to put you in jail if you didn't become an informant. I put it on the line, and I did. I think I'll let history speak for me. Yes, history will speak for you, and history will tell everybody that you were a rat. You were an informant. So the documentary Eyes on the Prize 2 premiered on January 15th, Dr. King Day, January 15th, 1990. Bill O'Neill committed suicide later on that evening. And like I mentioned in the beginning, Fred Hampton was only 21 years old, and during the raid or ambush, whatever words you want to use, the police fired 99 shots. You want to guess how many the Black Panthers shot? You want to know how many fire shots that the Black Panthers fired? They only fired one shot, man. They only fired one shot. The police shot them almost 100 fucking times. They only fired one shot. And of course, they had murder charges put against them. And they only fired one shot. Again, you want to talk about injustice. That is why we march today. That is why we say no justice, no peace. How can you have peace when there's no justice? That ambush happened, they fired, it was 100 shots. The FBI fired 99 of them. And a great point that Kev on Stage made, I was watching Kev on Stage podcast. Here's the thing. With Angel Lakita, with Angel Tanksley. And a great point that he made, he said, they were assassinating American citizens. Like, think about this. The FBI assassinated Dr. King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton. All three of these men were American citizens. Think about that. They assassinated 3 people who were born in America, who were American citizens, and they assassinated them. That's how ugly racism is. That's how ugly white supremacy is. To where you can do that with action against people who live in the same country as you. And you can do that because your skin tone gives you that privilege. You have that white supremacy. The cards are stacked in your favor. It's crazy, man. And I wanna say something real quick before I sign off, man. We say this ignorant notion, like our generation has this ignorant saying, "Oh, we ain't our ancestors, we'll do X, Y, and Z." Fred Hampton was an ancestor. Fred Hampton was 21 years old and was the chairman. He was the chairman of a branch of the most powerful black organization of that time. A national organization at that. This 21-year-old young man I don't know what I was doing at 21, but I damn sure wasn't doing that. I damn sure wasn't fighting for the people, living for the people, dying for the people. I wasn't doing that. Fred Hampton was doing that. At 21, you know what I was doing? Messing around in college, looking at women, trying to figure out where the next party was. Happy that I could finally buy alcohol legally. I wasn't leading no fucking revolution. I wasn't fighting for liberation for my people. I wasn't putting my life on the line every day so that my people could see liberties and freedoms, so that they can enjoy those, so that they can enjoy those. I wasn't doing that at 21, but that's what Fred Hampton was doing. Like I said before, the Black Panther Party and all these black organizations during the Civil Rights Movement, they were led by young black people, young black teenagers, young black adults, people between the ages of 16 to 25. These were young people. Young people who were the spearheads of this movement. Hell, Dr. King and Malcolm X didn't even reach the age of 40. They didn't even reach the age of 40. Could you imagine how Fred Hampton, could you imagine Fred Hampton in 2021. Could you imagine the amount of wealth and knowledge that he would have been able to share with us as a 70-year-old man if he were still alive today? Of an 80-year-old Dr. King or 80-year-old Malcolm X. Could you imagine their thoughts? Could you imagine what they would have to say as far as the racial climate in America today? Could you imagine that? So no, we are not like our ancestors. We will not do X, Y, and Z because we don't have it in our fucking spirit to do it. We're too privileged. They put in the road work for us. Our ancestors back then died fighting for liberation for our spoiled behinds. How dare we say some ignorant shit like that? The audacity of us to say some shit like that. When it's all said and done, I give the utmost thanks to Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton. Thank you for your service, sir. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being a beautiful Black revolutionary. And your story lives forever. And when it comes to Bill O'Neal, all scan folk and can folk, bro. And with that being said, guys, I want to appreciate everybody who tuned in to this recent installment of On the Mic. Once again, On the Mic will be live every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. You can check out the On the Mic Productions page on YouTube. Please press the subscribe button. Check out past episodes. Smash that like button. Again, if you want to be a guest on the Mic, please hit my inbox. Please, let's collaborate. Let's build. Let's chop it up. Once again, this podcast ain't about me. It's about everybody. And I want to provide a safe space for everybody. So, with that being said, I'm going to sign off of here. I'm about to go talk some wrestling with my brothers. And until then, y'all be safe. Y'all have a wonderful Friday, a beautiful weekend. And I will see y'all next Thursday on the mic. Much love.